Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. Good morning, good evening. Jamie, Anna, if you'd like to introduce yourself. I know we are starting like in a few minutes. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me what language are you teaching and where, which state or which country?
Hello, this is Jimmy. I'm currently in France right now, so it's the evening here. It's 9 in the evening, and I'm an engineer, but I'm willing to quit my job to do something more related with languages because I'm very interested in them, and in general, I'm very interested in teaching, communicating, transmitting knowledge and all that kind of things. When I was younger, I was a big contributor to the Wikipedia, Wikiversity projects. So communicating and transmitting knowledge is important to me. And since I'm currently more and more interested in languages when I'm here right now today with you.
Awesome. Thank you for joining, Jamie, and welcome to your new journey with the teaching. It is fun. I mean, I'm telling you, I have an experience teaching for past 25 years. I love it. I enjoy every single day seeing students progress and, learning a new language and integrating culture, introduced to new culture. And myself, I love learning. You said you speak French?
French, German, Spanish, and I've traveled in several countries. Actually, each time I go into new countries, I learned a little bit of the language because I think it's important to try to communicate with people, and that's open doors that would stay closed otherwise. And it's also sometimes very helpful when you travel to countries where people don't have the chance to learn other languages. The first time I was in Guatemala, we were 5 friends, and no one of us spoke Spanish, and this came very quickly a problem. So since then, I always learn a little bit of the language of every country I visit, and it's a lot of fun. So I decided I wanted to get more into this.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, learning language, as you said, you become closer to people who speak the language, and it helps you navigate your way, especially when you are traveling. Myself, I speak English, I speak Arabic, and I speak un petit peu French, but it's my goal to become more fluent in French. It's my desire. I love French language. So, and I have relatives living there, so that's maybe another motivation for me. And welcome, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
Also,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, I think it will help you if you have relatives in the country. Maybe you can try to get in touch with people that would be willing to do some language exchange on stuff kind.
I agree. Definitely. Hi, Anna. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are. It's the amazing thing. It's in this conference that we meet from all over the world. How are you, Anna?
Hi, I'm glad to be here. It's afternoon for me. I'm in the States. And I'm not a teacher either, but I am very interested in the storytelling method. I've read a little bit about Stephen Krashen and Benico Mason's work, so I'm very interested to learn more.
Awesome. Me too. They are my inspiration in adapting storytelling strategy and approach in teaching the language. Yes.
Wonderful.
Amazing. So where are you in the state? Which state?
I'm in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So Midwest.
Yeah, okay. 3 hours ahead of me. Good. Nice to have you, Anna, and hopefully it will be beneficial. We have Rodrigo. Rodrigo, would you like to introduce yourself so we can start the session? So get to know you, just to know who you are and what we can work together and maybe achieve at the end of this session. Rodrigo? Maybe he doesn't. All right. No problem. All right. So today the session is about storytelling strategies and some tools to introduce language and culture. And like Anna explained, I mean, storytelling as Krashen and Mason, they are really pioneer in talking about the method of storytelling. So I will tell you a little bit about me so you know where I come from and what is it that I have as a background. I have an MA in Human Development, Master's and in Adult Education. I am a certified as an ACTFL, OPI, which is Oral Proficiency Interview, and also Writing Proficiency Tester. And ACTFL is actually American Council for Foreign Language Teaching Association, and this is the largest organization that it's an umbrella for all languages in United States. I've been teaching for past 20 years plus across the level. So actually I started from kindergarten and I worked my way to college students. So it's fun to be able to teach the same method and have the same approach across the level. It wasn't really only for young students, especially when we talk about storytelling, all what it comes to mind to people that, oh, stories is only for young. No, we as an adult, if I want to communicate with someone or tell them that something, it's fun to say it in a storyline or narrate it as a story, and it will attract their attention. I created a program teaching young learners or beginner learners Arabic language, but it's the adapted the story. So the whole program based on stories from one to another. Currently, I am an instructor and also consultant and coach in a dual immersion program in a school from K to 6 now, but this school will go to high school, and we are really hoping to see the progress with this dual immersion student, that they are exposed to 2 languages, half a day one language and another day have another language, and to see their proficiency level. I'm a consultant and also a coach with the teacher. I'm also a chair in California supported by Qatar Foundation Teacher Council, and I received a ACTFL Veteran Teacher Award in 2015. So what we are going to explain today is how do we get inspiration from storytelling? And I will give you some examples and brain break that I used with students to really enhance their understanding, because storytelling is not only just to tell the story, it's part of teaching the language, the vocabulary structure through storytelling, and have them get engaged and excited and inspired about it. And also I will talk about some strategies and extensions of activity. So if we talk about storytelling, it is actually described as a technique of teaching that it's really was approved since Chamber talked about it 1970, and as we talked about Krashen and Mason, they supported that it's the best or ideal method of influencing children to associate actually the language with pleasure, and that would increase their attention and engagement in learning language. other values that we talk about in storytelling is actually a student will become, or children will become attentive or pay more attention to the syntax and also the phonics of the sounds of and pattern of the language. And that is really important in enhancing any language. And of course, it stimulates their creativity and their imagination. So storytelling in any classroom is always used as an informal, even if you are teaching science, math, it's the best way. Even in math, I see some teachers who are math teachers, they will never introduce, and now it's the new approach. You will never teach math, especially at young age, is 1 + 1. It is a story. You bring 2 apples and maybe 3 oranges, and you tell the story that there is 3 apples and they want to go somewhere with 3 oranges. So how many, fruit can we take with us? Something like that, that it makes it more fun and interesting. Yeah, and 7, 8, 9, right? Yes, it's always fun to tell stories, even if you are teaching any other subject. So when we talk about storytelling, we all know, as an educator or as a regular parents, if we think about language, we think about natural approach, and that is very important. When we have a baby, you notice that we have this child of ours that lives with us for at least 3 years. And what we do is we give them a lot of language. We talk to them, although within the first 2 years, they might not be able to produce other than sound, like la la, ba ba, these like little sound, but they are really, we bombard them with language. We do not use only sound. We talk to them. Let's go. I'm going to dress you up. Let's now bathe you. Now it's time. You talk to people around them. So this, we call it comprehensible input. And if I love any image, I like this image because if you think about this, tool that we have to fill it to the top to be able to drip water through that hole, right? So listening to a great deal of comprehensible input and language, we have to be patient to understand that the language production will not be the same as that amount of input that we give. It is going to be in a small doses and small amount of language. And that is where teacher has to be patient in understanding it takes time to produce, especially when we talk about second language or foreign language. And although in first language, maybe it will be earlier, by age 3, your child will be able to say a few sentences that they are kind of, we call it memorized phrases. I want milk. I want water. And sometimes they will not say I want, they will say water, milk, food. And you understand that they are telling you what they like or what they want, but they do not use full sentence. Some of them, they are progressing faster. So when we talk about teaching stories, we have to really bear in mind that the actual, this upside down image, that there is a certain levels of proficiency. So when I introduce a story or tell a story to my student, I have to make sure that I know where is their language proficiency level. So if they are at novice, there is a certain criteria for these levels. And if they are intermediate or advanced, so I encourage you, if you would like, we don't have time, but ACTFL has a great specific level with sub-levels. So if we talk about novice, there is novice low, mid, and high, and also intermediate and advanced level. They have sub-levels. but they are also, it's not only to know where your students' language are, it's that we have to know their linguistic, what they are able to, even if they are at novice, we know that they are able to produce or understand very short sentence, formulaic phrases that we introduce to them through stories, whatever story we have. It also embedded some culture in it, and also cross curriculum, which is we connected with discipline. So let's say if I am going to talk about a story of maybe what is a popular story? Maybe the lazy chicken, or the chicken, the red hen chicken, the red hen, and that she wants to bake bread, and she can't find the ingredient, and she asks help from the dog, the cat. And so throughout this, I will bring some math in that. So I will talk about, let's count how many things she needs to have to make the bread. So you are connecting with other disciplines. We talk about science when we talk about, what do you think, how this we get the flour? Is it like something we just purchase it from the supermarket? But let's talk about, how do we plan this? And maybe we will do a task and do some project regarding this. So it is fun to always connect with the story throughout the stories with all discipline. So the study showed that students who participate in listening and reading actually perform better in writing, spelling, speaking, and listening. What it is, it's actually, when we talk about the 4 skills, language has 4 skills. The first skill that student develop, or any language learner, any learner will develop, is listening. And listening is not only listening comprehension. And then the second skill will be speaking. And it depends how much listening, it will produce speaking. And then comes the reading, and the writing is the hardest or the last skill that any learner will develop. Although these 4 skills, they are like kind of, there are 2 of them, they are input, because they are listening and reading. So it's one input, and the reading and the writing and speaking, they are the output. So functional literacy is, we have to do oral development for students. Remember how we talked about natural approach? So we keep talking to our child, although he's not responding, or sometimes with some nodding the head, that is considered responding. And also they will be aware of the phonics and different sounds. And also it will have more meaning when we talk about spelling or writing something, what we say, especially with vocabulary. It will help students who are different learners. We know that students have a different learning style. There is some of them, they are more kinesthetic, they like to touch. Some of them, they are more visual, they like some of musical, some arted. So we have to address all these needs in introducing these comprehensible input. So let's go, and I will share with you a story. And this is a story, a part of the program. Maybe it is not something you understand in Arabic, but also it has subtitle in English. But it's about a rabbit that he lives with his mom and dad, and he eats every day carrots and lettuce. And throughout the days, he got sick and tired, and he became very angry that he is not liking to eat lettuce and carrots every day. So he left, and he the country or the village he lived, and he walks out of it, and he tried to look for food because he became very tired. And he kind of meets different animals, and these animals will, this is science if you think about it. So he will knock the door on a dog and ask him for food if he can. And we embedded culture in Middle Eastern culture is generosity is a key point. It's a huge. So the dog will say, of course, I have plenty of food that I can give you. Here you go. There is the meat. However, we know that rabbits do not eat meat, and only dogs who eat meat. So the rabbit gets not angry. He says, no, I'm a rabbit. I do not eat meat. And we go throughout this. So before we ask the student or the learners to watch this video that sometimes we create stories. I created the story and I have illustration, and you can do it nowadays. We have technology, so it's amazing how much we can use the technology and put some, images. So I will say that we are going to listen today to a rabbit, and I will say it in the target language, that he eats every day carrot. And throughout the story, we will notice that it's very important to have a recycled and repeated phrases, word vocabulary and phrases. And these will become, by the end of the story, it becomes like memorized phrases and chants that you want your student to be able to produce. And that is a basic learning acquisition or language acquisition. So, and then I will tell them throughout the story when we are listening, and I will have this video play twice or three times. It doesn't matter. Student loves to hear more once you give them a tool to think about. So I'll tell them we will play it one more time, and I want you to actually think about, listen to when he says angry, أنا غضبان, أنا غضبان, I'm angry, I'm angry. Think about it, because this phrase or this saying that I am angry, it's repeated every time he's moving. And we will watch it and talk about how many. So I actually connected them with math without noticing, without telling them that, let's say, we talk about math. Please, I mean, if you have any question while we are saying this is very casual, so it's not, I hate to be like lecturing. I'm an educator that I love engaging. So if you have anything, any question that you want to say, ask, please stop me and ask. We talk about also, we will have them move because we have a different learners interest, that maybe they are kinesthetic, they love to move. So we'll say, okay, whenever we hear I am good, I'm being good, or we say yay and you jump. If we say, oh, he's sad or angry, we say, ooh, something that will give them some motivation and some different style strategies that you will keep them engaged. And also at the end, we will give them an imagination. Maybe I will stop by when he reach meeting the duck. The duck is swimming in the lake, and then I will let them think, because they were introduced to the phrases from other animals. So I will say, let's think, what do you think he will say or ask the duck for? So if you are, I will share with you a little bit of this, and you will see how we introduce vocabulary through some props, visuals, and also some puppets. مرحبا بكم يا أصدقائي في برنامج Learning Arabic Language with Lina. اليوم سوف نقرأ قصة عن الأرنب الصغير، أرنب واسمه أرنب. عنوان القصة: الأرنب الغضبان. الأرنب يأكل الخس والجزر كل يوم. الخس والجزر كل يوم الاثنين. Oh, I'm sorry, I got a message that you can't see the video. Let me, interesting. Okay, let me stop this sharing. Okay, stop sharing. And I will put the video here. Okay. Now, tell me if you are seeing the video. السبت والأحد كل يوم يأكل الخس والجزر. Do you see the video? الأرنب okay. ليس سعيدا. سعيد ليس سعيدا. Okay, thank you. الأرنب ليس حزينا. حزين حزين. ولكن الأرنب غضبان. غضبان جدا. تعالوا نستمع معا إلى قصة الأرنب الغضبان. So if you see that actually what I did, this is how I always introduce my student to any story. I introduce the vocabulary and I use the same sentence that they will hear. Again, Abi, please let me know if you see the PowerPoint now, the slides, just to make sure, because I don't know why it's not. I closed it and came back. Just maybe on the chat, say, all right. Sorry, all right. So what I did, okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Pino. Thank you, Eti. All right. So what I did, I used the prop, I used visual, I used the same structure that I use. It is in the story, and introduce the story and the vocabulary, the structure before I read the story. And then when I'm reading the story, remember how we said, I said, okay, now let's count how many times we are hearing angry, غضبان, or let's count how many we are hearing I am good, because this is repeated throughout the time. What we do, it's another strategy that we always try to vary through storytelling. Do not ever start the story exactly the same. Students get bored, even adults. So what we do is I make up songs. Songs from same vocabulary or vocabulary that I know that they learned and introduce more. So I do it in a same tune rhythm of any popular song, especially maybe for young students. I say, where is Thumpkin? Where is Thumpkin? This is a tune they all know. I will say, هذا أرنب هذا أرنب أين الأرنب أين الأرنب هذه جزر هذا خاز أين الخاز أين الجزر. So they are really engaged in the song, and we are repeating the vocabulary in a fun way without being bored or repetitive. I will ask them questions that I will put, remember how I introduced them? So I will put the poster up and I'll say, who will tell me who eats the carrot and lettuce? So kind of recycle and also scaffold throughout the story. I will bring the story image into the 2 pages. Oh, there is a question, sorry. Somebody opened the mic. I'm sorry, if you are asking, can you speak louder, or maybe by mistake you opened the microphone? I'm sorry, but excuse me, I mean, there is a microphone is open, And maybe by mistake, can you please unmute our microphone? I can't tell who is that, so I can. Marietta, can you please mute your microphone? I am trying actually on. I'm trying to mute on. Let no, it's not giving me my video. It's not everyone, unfortunately. And I can't see who is. Can anyone tell me? As you see, I can't see all this. Let me stop. I'll stop sharing and I'll see who is microphone. I can. Okay. I think it stopped. Sorry, I'm so sorry for that. Forgive me. All right, thank you. So you change the order of the story, change the way that you are giving the story. Ask them the question every time you are telling the story. You have to really stop and ask question. We call that comprehension question. So we will go to the strategies because it's more fun and activities for all teachers who would like to use this approach at the school or in your class next day. So what I do, here is certain kind of food that I know that I introduced to the student and they all learn that story, and we want to practice these food item. However, I don't want to be repetitive and I do not want to give them, just to say, oh, let me repeat, say cheese, this is cheese, this is, no. What I do is a strategy that you can use. You are going to have the student in a group of 4. So you will have 4 students together working as one group. So group 1 and 2 will work together. 3 and 4 will work together. Tama, okay? So I will introduce this and put it on a slide. And sometimes you can put it if you do not have a screen or a slide. And I know everyone has whiteboard. You can project the slide. I wish I can do something. Somebody's really not noticing that the mic is on. All right, so I will project this images, and I am sure that we introduced this vocabulary and we learned it. So, okay, so 1 and 2, one will share with 2, 3 items that he liked, and 2 to 3 items he does not like, dislike. All right, and 3 and 4 will work together exactly the same. 3 will share with 4, 3 items, and 4 is listening, like 2 is listening. And then 2 will share the same thing with number 1 while number 1 is listening. Please, very important to tell your student the instruction. Then after they do that, because they need to listen and write, we hit that. Of course, each one of them like something, other one will like different thing. So actually they are repeating the vocabulary without being repetitive and without my repeating it to them. Then I will give them time and then I will say, go and turn around, face each other. So 1, what will do, 1 will tell 3 what he or she heard from 2, and 3 will tell 1 what she or he heard from 4, and vice versa. The other ones will do the same thing. So practically, what you did, you have all these 4 students repeat and talk and exchange and interact with each other and learn something. You want to take it to a higher level, and you know that your student level that they can write. I will ask them, okay, first, no writing aloud. I want them to pay attention and really retain what their classmate said. And then I will ask them to write these information that they got from each other. It's a great way to recycle, to repeat the vocabulary without being repetitive and without boarding our student. This is one strategy I use after I introduce the story. Throughout the story also, I will have the different vocabulary. I varied images and vocabulary I'm using, so it will give you some inspiration, although that when I do a story, I will use the same vocabulary and structure in these same strategies and these activities. All of that scavenger hunt. Oh, Miguel, do you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was not on mute.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. Yes, it's like game telephone, almost. But game telephone, you are telling one. That is true. But one vocabulary, you will say one word, and then the other will say, and it will lose the telephone. It will lose sometimes the word. It's you when you reach. Here, no, it is a phrase, a sentence, and the two will be listening attentively to each other. I totally agree, but I want my goal. I want them to really listen to each other. No problem. I mean, we do mistakes and sometimes we open. So the scavenger hunt, it's in a different way. I will have this giving to the student. First, I put it here on a slide, both of them. But first, I'll give them a sheet of the vocabulary listed, all right? And next to it, there is numbers. And I will have the picture displayed throughout the classroom. I chose 4, but if I'm talking about clothing, I'll put a lot, and I'll put some maybe weather that we covered before. And then I will have these vocabulary, and student will work in a kind of going in a loop. They will go take the sheet and try to put the number next to the word, that when they locate and find the picture that match. It's practically like pencil and paper that match paper, but it has nothing that really students are engaged or learning or acquiring when we have a sheet of paper with words and pictures and they will cross it. No, this way you will have them move around, and sometimes I will have them work in pairs. So together they try to navigate and work out what is the word and what is the vocabulary, and try to locate it and put the number. For a different version, what I'll do, I will have the picture and I'll have the vocabulary words displayed in the classroom, and student will go around and actually locate the word and write it next to the picture that they have these sheets provided to them. Any questions so far? Okay. Another way that I will have the vocabulary in these boxes, and I will have student work either in a smaller group, 3 to 4, or in pairs, and they are going to identify these items, and each of them, I will give them 2 pages, 2 papers of the same thing. And then what they will do after they identify, just to help each other and recall the vocabulary, I will have them set separately, and each of them will write a sentence talking about the picture that we know from the story. It's he was living in a house, he called his friend, his dad was sitting and not doing anything, he was screaming, I am very angry. Maybe he went and he found the water. This replaces or reflects some lake or ocean. He was thinking, he was taking a picture or thinking to to himself. There is plenty of animals. Do we want? He shook hands. That is a culture that it's usually to greet each other. He greeted his friend. So all of this, it's a different variation of enhancing and recycling and also acquiring language. When we come to maybe more advanced, I love to, after finishing the story, to incorporate the story in a different task. So what I'll give them, especially when student, I know that we talked about ACTFL and they are able, I know my student, they are able to write, even if they are at novice, high, novice, mid, they can do a list. So what I will tell them, it's Friday and we are going to make a special meal to our friend, or it's Saturday, we are making special. But I chose Friday because it's culturally, Friday in Middle East is a weekend. So we talk about that. And sometimes they say, why did we choose Friday? And I will tell them, do you think Friday is the right day to invite someone? And we talk about, no, it's a school day, it's a work day. So yes, well, in Middle East, Friday is a weekend, like here, Saturday and Sunday. So I give them some website to help them that there is some pictures that they are authentically appropriate, and also some recipe that they can find. And also I provided some, this is all you provide them to give them tools to be able to produce. I want them to put a special meal or maybe different recipe of meals that they will cook to their friends. And then they are going to meet each other and exchange this, and also presentation. So we are hitting a very important element in connection and communication, which is it's interpersonal and presentational. So interpersonal, they will talk to each other and exchange what meal they found and how do they make it, what is the recipe. And if they are at a beginner's level, I'll tell them, list me the items, only list that you can do. In an intermediate, put for me the way the recipe goes, how you mix, you chop, all these verbs in it. And then the presentational, it will be either you choose to have them maybe videotape themselves, or maybe it's orally in the classroom. Another way that I like to do, I locate some videos and I will mute them, but it happens that this is a video that I found. It's muted already with no language in it, and I will have student first. We will talk, so we engage them and get them motivated to know some vocabulary and some structure we learn. So we'll watch the video. I will stop it and tell them, I'll give them this on the slide or on the worksheet, and I will say, think about when you are watching, what is the bird doing? And what is the color of the first fish that he caught? And what was the second one? And was it big? Was it small? How did he caught these fish? And let me share with you. Okay, and you can see the sharing. All right, the video is actually no language in it. I want you to reach the point that how he figured out that he can use different ways to catch the fish. Okay, so it's actually practically, it's a fun. The students love it. They laugh at it because it is fun to find out that they didn't use actually the fishing rod, but what he did is he used his tail, and we talk and let them imagine, let them try to produce different scenarios. So in this way, I'll give them some tour. We will talk about the vocabulary. I know that they are at level that they can at least narrate a story using short sentences, and then I will have them work together in a group and create the story and illustrate it. How much fun is that? I mean, just to use their imagination. And for that, I would love to introduce you to another storybook or a website that has a beautiful different stories, and these stories, they come in different languages. So if you would like, I will share it with you on the chat so you can all no, okay, to everyone. And this is a website that you can look at it on your spare time, but it's nice that you can. Do you see my screen? I'll share it again. It's view and it's written, it's also audio. So what you do, you can see my Storybook Canada, you can change the language. I would say I wanted French, I wanted all these languages. So what I do, I wanted, let's say, Arabic. And you look, this is beautiful because you introduce them to different cultures. So you see, this is Let's Count Animals, and it's at level 1. And you will see it's an audio. You can play it and have them listen to it, or you are going to read it by yourself, or have them read it themselves. And here is the script. So I love this, and I want to share it with all of you. Here is French. So we have it in French language, and I will here listen to it in French. It's written in French. This is the script. And you will tell, let's say it's, so this is all French, and it's written in French language, and you can listen to it.
Un éléphant va boire de l'eau.
So it's a beautiful way to really enhance their understanding with different culture, because all these books are a great, yes, I agree, fantastic resource. I love it, and I use it a lot because it's also introduced my learners to different cultures, but using the Arabic language. So for now, I would like to welcome all of you to have any question, any comments. How much attention do you put on learning Arabic letters? And that is a good question, Anja. I do not put a chunk of time for alphabets, because I started by saying it's very important to introduce students to bombard them with language. So I use the storytelling in emphasis the vocabulary, and then from the stories and from the vocabulary that they are introduced to, I will introduce the alphabet. So it is incorporated using a lot of language. It is very important because it does not mean anything to learn A, B, or Aleph, Ba. Okay, what is that supposed to mean? But if I will say أرنب, الأرنب يذهب إلى حديقة, the rabbit, let's say in English, I will say rabbit. What do you hear the first sound in rabbit? So this way I will introduce the speech and pronunciation of alphabets in Arabic using vocabulary from there. That makes more sense to them. I hope I addressed your question, Angie. So writing, it's the hardest skill. You have to enhance your students or learners in oral first, listening and speaking with a lot of language first. And as we start, it's a natural approach. Like think about your baby that you spend 3 years talking to them in a lot of language, different vocabulary, and you never introduce them to alphabet, but you read them story, you tell them story, you talk to them, and then they start producing one word. They will say sometimes sounds first, and then a vocabulary word and short sentences. Yeah, so it is very important that you enhance that. Then when you know that your learners are at a level that they are producing some vocabulary, some short sentences, we can introduce the writing to them. But however, I will always put the vocabulary with the writing underneath, so they are exposed. And I will say a book, kitab, I will say kitab, the picture, the word kitab, what do you hear? Kitab, first letter. And then after a few days, I know that they are very, they acquired the K sound. I will say kitab. What is the last letter? So in a way that you are introducing them to the letter, to the writing, phonics and syntax, but not really only letters. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Any other question? You can open your mic. I mean, it's no, will be there also others language like Japanese. I would say yes. It's, let me see if they have, actually when you look at change, they have English, French, Arabic, Bengali, Cantonese, German, Italian, Mandarin, Farsi. Yes, I mean, they have all, most of the languages, but because I'm not other language teacher, Sana. Yes, thanks, you answered. Oh, thank you. You learn how to. Any other language? I mean, please, it's really, we have a few minutes. Let me see, it's not on our side. If you, okay, so next, is there any other language other than you would suggest to learn before Arabic or later learn faster, like Turkish? Well, that is a good question. Turkish is really similar, and Persian too, alphabet-wise. They have the same alphabet. I know that if you want to learn Turkish language, it's really close. There is a lot of vocabulary in Arabic. It's similar to Turkish. Maybe it's like the sound is different. You say daftar in Turkish, in Arabic you say daftar. You know, different. But yes, they are similar. Or Semitic, Persian, Hebrew, Arabic, and Turkish, they all have a common in their alphabets. I don't want to take time from my other colleague who maybe have another. If you do not have any question or anything, thank you so much for being here. And I hope that I was able to share some of my experience, my love, my passion using storytelling as the most best tool that I encountered in teaching languages. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And I hope that I can see you. I'm in Clubhouse and Afwan, Shukran. And so if you want, you can follow me on Clubhouse. I have storytelling.
Where are you from?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
Yes, I am originally from Damascus, Syria. I live in Los Angeles, California for the past 38 years.
You are talking about اللغات العربية?
Yes, نعم. أنا أتكلم اللغة العربية. نعم.
شكرا جزيلا.
عفوا.
From Buenos Aires, Argentina.
أهلا وسهلا. Where did you learn Arabic?
Well, I'm Jewish and I speak Hebrew and I took Arabic lessons.
Yes, yes, definitely. That's what somebody asked me. They said, what other languages? So I said, Hebrew.
Well, you know that the Mashriki dialects are somewhat a little bit easier rather than Fusha, but I will try.
Yeah, for you. Yeah, it's semantic. They are all share the same alphabets. And I know the only thing, the thing that they are also right from right to left versus all other languages is from left to right. And that is something you introduce in the stories to your learners as a culture. So they look and they find me opening this way and they were like, oh, no, it's wrong. I say, no, this is how so you introduce them to writing without saying this is how
you can imagine. I'm 43 years old and I learned how to read and write Arabic, my 10th alphabet, at the age of 41. So I learned with a Moroccan Colombian friend. So it's a fascinating culture.
Yes, very true. Very true. So thank you so much for attending and goodbye, everyone. It is a pleasure meeting all of you and seeing you virtually, and have a blessed day, the rest evening, afternoon or morning. And thank you so much. Bye-bye now. Thank you.